Hello, hello. It's Alicia from Quick and Delish. I have an interesting recipe that I'm going to make for you very quickly. So check this out. I just made some basil pesto in the Cuisinart. This is just, it's garlic, raw garlic. I actually used pistachio nuts because that's what I had, unsalted pistachio nut meats that are already shelled. And then fresh basil, salt, pepper, olive oil, and lemon juice. So this is all I just made this, but you could totally use prepared pesto if you're using pesto in general. No big deal. Okay, so check this out. So you may want to have something spreadable on toast or crackers or something like that. But for some reason, sometimes you don't want cheese, and so you want some sort of alternative, right? I don't know. It's just an idea. And I like to think of different ways to do similar things without cheese, just to have variety. Okay, so I'm gonna take silkened or soft tofu. This is organic. You want to get organic, non-GMO tofu. I like soft or firm tofu. They have different, the purpose for each of them is totally different. So the soft tofu, as you can see, there's this picture of a smoothie. You could use the soft tofu to add protein to your smoothie. What? I know, right? Totally cool. And so I think that's kind of cool because it's just tofu, right? Who cares? So this is a block of the silken tofu. I just opened the package, dumped it in. And what I'm gonna make is a spread or a ricotta substitute filling for lasagna. So check it out. So if you added tofu to lasagna instead of the ricotta filling, then that would add more protein. Yes. So even if you're a big fan of ricotta for whatever reason, you could do one layer of tofu, one layer of ricotta. And then oftentimes when I make lasagna, because I like how efficient making lasagna is. Like it's maybe, you know, a decent amount of work to figure out the layers and everything. And you can use different types of pastas, right? Using a bean pasta would be kind of cool. And there's different types of pastas I've seen in the grocery store recently. This is a yellow lentil and brown rice lasagna noodle pasta. So there's interesting stuff out there. I have yet to try this. It's on the list of things to do. That's why I purchased it. Anywho, random detail. Okay, so I really like the idea, like, so if you make lasagna, make a bunch of portions, right? Because it's like a bake pan, like a 10 by 14 or whatever, 9 by 6 or something pan. And then you get like somewhere about, you know, 9 to 12 to 16 portions, depending on how big you cut these things and how big your pan is. And then you can freeze a bunch of the servings, and then you have like, for the month, you're not gonna have lasagna like every day of the week, right? Because you'll like not want lasagna for like 3 months unless you're somebody that's best friends with Garfield. But making a large batch of something and then freezing it so you can enjoy it later is one of my favorite things to do, for real. Okay, I'm gonna get to mixing this up. So you could totally just use a fork or a spoon. It really doesn't matter. I was thinking the fork would be better because it would make it more ricotta-like versus the spoon. I also thought that the fork would be a little bit more fast. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I try to make it so it doesn't look like tofu anymore, you know, like no corners. Trying to get rid of the corners. Okay, so it totally just looks like ricotta. Jeez. Okay, so the idea is that, you know, you could take half of this, like cut this in half and use half of it, add pesto to half of it, and then the other half use for smoothies, right? Or you could use half of it, put lemon zest and juice, olive oil, and garlic, and that's your spread. Or instead of like raw garlic, because some people don't tolerate raw garlic well because like they have their digestive system reminds them that they had garlic, like they burp up the garlic taste, and that's kind of unpleasant. cooking the garlic, like sauteing it in the olive oil before you add it to something, might help with aid digestion. And also pairing the garlic with like equally strong foods, you know, like a vegetable like broccoli rabe or lots of parsley, can help with removing the strong garlic taste, theoretically. You know, it's all about like how much garlic also. If you do like eat a lot of garlic, then you're going to be reminded that you ate garlic, and your friend is going to remind you that you ate garlic because they can smell it on you. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add a large spoonful of this awesome basil pesto. Okay. And I'm probably going to need to add some lemon juice, and some zest. But you know what I'm going to do, because it's smart. I seasoned the pesto with salt and pepper already, and lemon juice and olive oil. Very cool. You could, if you want to, you could use cheesecloth and squeeze a little bit of the water out if you don't like how moist the soft tofu is. But I like it because it makes it more spreadable. But it's up to you. It is gonna, maybe, it might seep out some water once you put it in the refrigerator. And then what's cool is if the water seeps up to the top, then you could just pour it off. So that's cool. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna taste this, see if it needs any salt, pepper, lemon juice, or olive oil. And I think that's all I would possibly want to add anyway. It tastes like what it is. It tastes like soft tofu with basil. So if we could, my goal is to try to get away, like lower the volume on the tofu taste and then elevate the other flavors. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna add, tofu tastes like what you add to it. These are the least juicy lemons I've ever come across. No, I've probably seen similar lemons before. Oh my gosh, if I could count how many lemons I've squeezed in my life, that would be a lot of lemons. Okay, these are really not very juicy. I'm gonna use a spoon later. Or now. Let's just do it. Oh, that's much better. Yeah. It's always good to exercise the left arm too, which is my non-dominant arm, to get everybody exercised in the kitchen. See, I wanted to start singing a song, but I don't think I'm allowed to sing any songs that are from somebody else. I have to write my own songs. Like lemon. I love lemon. I also love lime. I love lime. I love lime and lemon. I just add in a teaspoon and a half of olive oil. I'm gonna go with a little more freshly ground black pepper. And this is a little bit of Maldon salt, which is a large grain sea salt from Malden, England. That's why it's called Maldon salt. Okay. I think this is going to work out swimmingly. It's pretty good. I can still taste the tofu. Every brand of tofu tastes a little bit differently. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna show you. So say you're like, oh, I need a snack, and you want something that's satisfying, and you have some of this bread in your refrigerator. So this is one of my favorite. I'll show you after I finish plating this awesome snack. Okay, that's probably up. You can certainly pile it up. Okay, so then What am I looking for? Okay, so I got some cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes. I don't sing because I forget what I'm doing. I just sing because I like to sing. Okay, there we go. Every part of the tofu is covered with cherry tomatoes. And then I don't want to make it look dirty by adding black pepper. So what I'm going to do is I added some Maldon salt to the tomatoes because they need a little bit of seasoning. And voila! Wonder if you could, I think that's probably better. Amazing, right? So this is, maybe I'm supposed to try this for you. Okay, so we have the cracker, which I'll show you the brand of the cracker in a minute. I'm a huge fan of the larger the cracker, the less likely you'll eat the whole package. That's one of my theories behind crackers. So I like a large serving of cracker. The smaller the serving, the more likely you're going to be a monster and you're just going to eat like handfuls of them. Like those little bunnies, you got to watch out for those bunny crackers. Here's the deal. If you eat this soft tofu just like this with the pesto, you're going to taste the tofu. However, if you add it to something and there's lots of flavors going on, because the cracker has a ton of seeds in it. You taste the cracker, it's very seedy, very nutty, very earthy, and crunchy. And then there's this basil-y, lemony, garlicky layer. And then it's hard to tell even if it's like, is it cheese or it doesn't taste like cheese, and you know, but you can't taste the tofu. I'm sure somebody out there in the world would be able to taste it. But I think you could totally pull it off and serve this, and you know, people will be like, wow, this is really good. And then when they find out that it's tofu, they might be like, oh yeah, it's totally not good. I'm just kidding. But I highly encourage you to try this. The tomatoes are delicious. They're soft. So crunchy cracker, you know, nice basil-y, garlicky, olive oily, yumminess. And then the tomato. So you could, sky's the limit with what vegetables you could put on here, right? Cucumber, avocado. This could be a breakfast for some people. Because some people have a hard time like busting out breakfast real quick. So if you have something like this in the refrigerator, you put it on a cracker and then you have some avocado, or if you do a savory version, just plain tofu. Some people like plain tofu. Add some blackberries, a little bit of cinnamon or something like that. Done. Breakfast is done. Super easy. So the tofu would add some protein, and it's a good source of calcium as well. There's lots of other things in tofu because it's a derivative of soybeans and edamame. So cool. So that's one idea of it's like a vegan vegetarian spread that you can add all kinds of flavors to this and run with it. Use it as a lasagna filling instead of ricotta to add more protein to your lasagna. And you don't even have to add like 2 layers of it. You could just do 1 layer. And then if you like ricotta, and honestly, when I made lasagna with only the tofu for the filling, like 1 or 2 layers of the tofu filling like this, I mean, if we ate side by side, like the ricotta one versus the tofu one, you might be able to tell the difference, but like it passes off for the same thing. Nobody would know. If you didn't tell them, I would doubt that they would know. You don't want to trick people that can't have things, like they have food allergies. But for the person that, you know, is kind of judgy against tofu, but you know you can change their mind because it tastes good anyway and you just hide it, you could probably pull it off. Okay, well that's it from me. Oh, I did last tip. You could add, so I'm not a big fan of adding like some people totally like to make their food like super spicy, right? But I personally, if I was going to add chili flake to this, I would add it when I was going to eat it. A very little bit, so that I had like bites of heat versus like the whole thing tasting like chili. And that's just my idea. So I would just sprinkle a few pieces of chili flake on top of like the cherry tomatoes or on the tofu, and call it a day. And so I like some heat, but not like super intense like heat. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, recipe video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And check the either click on the title of the video if you're on your phone, or go to the show more description box on your computer to get the recipe for this video. Awesome. Or the recipe for this recipe, the literal recipe for this recipe. Let me say that 20 times fast. Have a great day. Take care.